Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome. What if I told you that the glamorous life, everything that we dream about, that we see on social media, wasn't particularly as glamorous as we might think it is? Take it from me, a TV show host, there's a lot of work that goes into this, but we see certain professions, certain careers, and we think, wow, it's got to be fabulous. What could be wrong with being in the public eye? Well, my guests today are going to pull back the curtain a little bit and show us what's going on. So my first guest is someone I revere and hold in my heart very dearly. She believed in me when I was just rapping with Dr. JACALYN and doing something on the radio. She and I connected through a mutual friend, and she has been someone who has believed in me ever since. And I have such an affinity for her. She is an author. She's someone who has interviewed celebrities at the highest level, names that we all know. She was living in New York and living the glamorous life. And at some point she said, I've had enough. Let's hear her story. Welcome to the show, Heather Dean.
Hi there, Dr. JACALYN. Always nice to see you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to see you as well. And thank you for bringing two of your colleagues with us today as well. Let's get them out and then let's start the show. Hello and welcome.
Thank you.
So we have two wonderful women named CHANA as well. So thank you for being here. Why don't we each just go around quickly? Heather, say a little bit about yourselves and then we'll move on.
Terrific. Okay, so I'm Heather Dean, and I'm founder and CEO of Heather Dean Productions. I am an author, but also I am a podcast coach, and I also help people in businesses earn media coverage for their product, service, and written work. And I'm really, really excited to be here because my two co-collaborators and I, each one of us has come from a very glamorous industry and chose a different path of life, each individually. And so we're working on a project together that we're really, really excited to tell the world about today.
Thank you so much. Let's go over to CHANA STUDLEY.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN, for having us on your show. So I left a career in Hollywood. I did special effects in movies for maybe 20 years, working on really big movies. And I just couldn't do it anymore. It was wonderful flying around the world and working with the most talented, wonderful people. But there came a point when I was working 100 hours a week, and I thought, what am I doing? So I became a school teacher, first of all, which was much more fulfilling at the time. And now I'm writing books and working as a coach and speaking internationally with retreats and conferences and sharing, about well-being. That's really my area where I'm teaching people that they have innate well-being.
Thank you very much and welcome. And Hannah Gilman.
Hi, thanks for having us here. So I was in the fashion industry. I ran Anne Klein II and I worked with Donna Karan for 8 years. And my whole history was about fashion. I also worked in Europe, had my own business before Anne Klein II. I worked for the Versace group and later ran the offices in America for a women's Jewish college here in Israel. And today I'm a coach, life coach, and a public speaker telling my story all around the world.
Thank you and welcome also. And by the way, I love the fact that you are all in black. And that's fantastic. And you are all in Israel. So I think one of the things I'd like to start out with is, how did you meet?
That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, I think it was CHANA GILMAN. You and I met 25 years ago, plus maybe around 26 years. Oh, and so, yeah, so CHANA GILMAN really is a well-known international speaker. And I had heard about CHANA GILMAN from students who had seen her and heard her speak at their school. And it was at a Shabbat table, that they were saying, oh, you've got to meet this lady, you've got to meet this lady. And lo and behold, I met this lady, CHANA GILMAN. And our first meeting was over coffee. And I remember like crying because I could just tell her all about my life. CHANA GILMAN was me, but already 10, 15 years ahead of the game. So I just learned so much about relationships, and also crossing that bridge from my own glamorous life, having worked in network television and publishing, to a more fulfilling life of meaning and connection in the religion I was born into, also Judaism. And it was like CHANA GILMAN, who held my hand for just so many years as I went through all these stages in life, and to this day. And we still like laugh it up all the time.
Yes, we do.
And if I could just say with CHANA STUDLEY, so you and I met because you were a guest on a podcast that I did. You had approached me because you had your first of 4 books coming out, which is such a page turner. I love this book, and I love the cover. And so you and I met because you were a guest on my podcast, and we've since co-headlined a speaking engagement, and have also stayed in touch over the years.
Yeah, we had a book launch together. Remember? Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. You've all worked in an industry or industries where image and visibility and glamour is part of it. What is something that the public watching right now might not know about those industries and that makes it not as glamorous?
I mean, I can tell you, working in film, a lot of working in film, we used to joke, hurry up and wait. Like, hurry up, gotta go, and then you're waiting. There's so much waiting around. It looks so glamorous from the outside, but when you're in a field in Australia for 6 months, using a porta potty, making what ended up being an Academy Award winning film, the actual work can be, not so glamorous. It can be really, it's that's not what it's like all the time. It has its moments, but it's, it's certainly in the film business that I was in. There was certainly a lot of hurry up and wait, and just twiddling your thumbs, waiting for other people to come and do the work so that you could come in and do your work. And then often that ends up on the cutting room floor. So it was like, you have to have a lot of patience.
So I'll talk about fashion. It is glamorous. I was the face of the company, and there was a lot of television and press and behind the scenes working with models, and starting from a swatch of fabric in the designer's hands and then watching it become an entire massive collection, because they make massive collections that then we, the business side, and their design team cull down into what is a collection that the stores come in to buy from. And then you see it in the stores. While it was very glamorous and fun, it was just a lot of fun, the competitiveness and the almost like New York Post page 6, you were it if you had what to gossip about and who to be and how much dirt you knew. And that just kind of didn't work for me anymore. I found Judaism while working on the job, and started the change in my life at that point. I became an Orthodox Jewish woman while working at Anne Klein. They, in fact, gave me a year's leave of absence to come to Israel to study, and took me back. They actually gave me 6 months. I quit, and they told me they won't accept the resignation. I came, I asked for another 6 months. I got it, and went back and ran another division until the dean and founder of the university here asked me to open his offices in America, which is why I made that transition out.
Yeah, I would also say, poor CHANA STUDLEY, like you worked in the trenches, and my side was definitely also the glamour side. So with CHANA STUDLEY, she worked on a lot of major motion pictures, especially in the 90s. And I was producing a lot of interviews with celebrities, like hundreds and hundreds of celebrity interviews, also in the 90s. So I was actually interviewing the people who starred in these movies that she had worked on behind the scenes, standing in a field in New Zealand. So I got the good part of all of that, and it was, what I say, it really, really was. It really was a glamorous life. I knew it was fun. I was interacting with A-list celebrities, B, C, D-list celebrities, like every kind of thing, because the broadcast companies I worked for were so big, they were interested in all of it, every kind of celebrity. And I loved that, being such a fan of pop culture as I was, that I got to interview people who were well-known in movies, but also television and comedy and modeling and Broadway, and basically all of the aspects of the entertainment business. So it really was fun. And the only non-glamorous part of it is the times where I had to sit in an editing room, and it's me and an editor, maybe an associate editor, and it's just taking forever to edit a piece that was going to appear on MTV or on the E! Channel or whatever. So that was tedious, but the celebrity interviews, who wouldn't love that? So as a fan of pop culture, I really, really think that I had the best job. And I walked away from it. Each one of us walked away from our jobs. Nobody was shown the door, so to speak. We all walked away. So I don't think we hit rock bottom. We just upgraded our lives to something more meaningful.
I think what you just shared is so important for our audience, because there's so much going on in the world. And I know, having interviewed thousands of people, people stay put. They stay where they are because they are afraid. They are terrified that if they step out of their box, what's going to happen? So how do you feel that walking away from your career, choosing another path, really prepared you for this project that the three of you now have?
I would like to make a comment on what you just said, if I may. When I made the decision to leave Anne Klein, and I told people that I was going to study in Israel, people became so angry, and I couldn't understand why. Like, why did it upset them so much? And Dr. JACALYN, what I realized was that they were upset, and it came out from several people afterward, that I was choosing to live a different dream, and they felt stuck and not able to do that. So I think you just hit on a big piece as well, that it's hard for people to make a shift.
Thank you for sharing that. I know when I started in this business, I had people say to me, who do you think you are? Do you think you're actually going to make it? You're walking away from a paycheck and benefits. You have a rude awakening coming for you. But I think what's most important is finding happiness. And that's where I think people are missing the mark. So I want to talk about what it is that the three of you are doing today, because I think that's so important. And my first question is, there's a lot of competitiveness among women, especially in the US. I know when I was in corporate, a woman would rather stab you than see you go ahead. So how did the three of you come together and say, okay, we each have our own parts. I respect you. Let's do this.
So I got a phone call. Heather and I have stayed in touch all the years, but not like on a weekly, monthly basis. And Heather called, and I get asked a lot to collaborate on projects, whatever, and I'm usually not interested. But she said, can we have lunch? I agreed, because it was Heather. And she said, I've had this idea since the summer. She told me the idea about Glam to Glory, Women Reimagining Life. And I had known of Hannah Studley, but I did not know her personally. And I said, I will sign on to this, absolutely. But I think the three of us have to come together to see if we can vibe together and make it feel alive with each other. And we had a very long lunch, the three of us, And since then, it's just taken off and been so much fun. And I feel they're younger and they are really at the height of their fields now. And I feel that at my age, I'm like the comeback queen. Don't be 54 and tell me you can't do something again. And that's how it came for me.
That is beautiful. I love that. Age does not define us. And as we are, as humans, living longer, why not reinvent ourselves? Get involved with collaborations and projects. I remember someone said to me, don't talk to any guest that I send you except for one interview. Don't try to have a relationship with them. And I thought, when did we decide we're owning humans? When did we decide we're in control of relationships? Go and collaborate and see where it takes you. So I'm very interested. We're talking about going from glam to glory. And so what does glory mean to each of you? We'll start with Heather.
I'm so glad that we've all brought up the idea of studying in Israel. So why does a Jewish person doesn't have to study in Israel, where each of us was outside of Israel. So I think it's safe to say we were often getting invited to families' homes for a Shabbat meal or a Jewish holiday meal. We lived in major cities, East Coast, West Coast, and there were available classes on authentic Torah learning, authentic Jewish values. There were classes. In my own case, I felt after a few months of this, I appreciate everyone who's hosting me for Shabbat meals, Sabbath meals. And I like these classes. I go to one a week, whatever. But I knew that I really wasn't learning so much about what is really expected of a Jewish woman, what is being a Jewish woman all about, what's just being a religious Jew, what is in the Torah. I mean, that's the gift that our Creator gave us in Mount Sinai. And we even have a holiday coming up in a few days, actually about a week, that celebrates the giving of the Torah to the Jewish people. So that is one of the reasons why we're talking also about coming to Israel and studying here. There are English language colleges for Jewish women who want to learn more about their Jewish tradition. So I think that's a very important piece of going from glam to glory is, what is this glory all about? So in the school, we happen to have gone to the same Jewish college for women, and that's where we learned classes on Jewish philosophy, Jewish law, Jewish outlook, and many other aspects of authentic Jewish values and really having a Torah-centered life. What's that about?
Yeah, I can say something about that. Working in the film business, we had to work on Fridays and Saturdays. And as I was becoming more observant, I wasn't, I didn't grow up religious. And so as I was becoming more observant, I couldn't say to them, oh, it's Friday afternoon, I got to go home. Because there were plenty of other people who would want my career. Like Hannah was saying about, it's very competitive. And so I had to give it up. And like I said, I became a school teacher for 5 years. And whilst I was teaching, I kept hearing other Jewish women talking about this school in Jerusalem. It's called Neve, and it seemed like this magical place. And I thought, maybe one day I'll check it out. And it just I kept hearing about it. So I thought, being a teacher, I had the summers off. So maybe I'll go and do the summer program, because I hadn't been a student since high school. So I thought I'll just come for the summer. And I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the learning, being in Israel. It's not the easiest place to live, obviously. And so I then decided to take a year off and came to study for a full year. And that was almost 16 years ago, and I'm still here. So it's like the glory part for me is like I've lived on 4 different continents, and this is where I feel at home. For me, it's about feeling at home, and then I get to be the best version of myself. Whereas, I loved living in America. I grew up in England. I've lived in Australia. But here, I just feel like I'm being myself. And then that way, I've flourished in a completely different way than I couldn't have imagined before.
So I came up in the 70s and 80s with the feminism whole thing. And I never thought about getting married, having children. I never considered myself a feminist, but it just didn't come into life. And I remember most of us were single at Anne Klein. I had a staff of over 100 women, but one of the girls was married and she got pregnant and she took her maternity leave. And you can't imagine, instead of saying congratulations, how angry everyone was that she got so much time off. So I then decided I'm coming to Israel to study for the 6 months. And I realized here that I'd never thought about being a wife, a mother, and certainly not Jewish. What does that even mean? So I asked for another 6 months. And the things that drew me away, I never would have left the fashion industry. I was the it girl. I had a blast. It was great. But the things that spoke to me were the concepts of modesty, that you don't have to be completely uncovered to be seen, and you don't have to be the loudest voice in a room to be heard. And watching models and a lot of women with food issues, particularly in that industry, and myself even having a few issues back in the day, and what the idea of being kosher, how it affected the food and the eating. And that was huge for me. And the other thing that really made it for me was seeing the relationships between husbands and wives, which nobody sees much of today at all. But how it works, what it's about, why are they usually successful? And I say that being a divorced woman. So that was it for me. And I think the biggest glory for me about it today, all these years later, is having grandchildren who are carrying on the legacy, which all I would have had is the gray, yellow newspapers from Women's Wear Daily, the interviews I gave back in the day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you're sharing today. As a side note, I have had a lot of beautiful clothes, a lot of 6 and 7 inch designer heeled shoes, red sole bottoms. And I just decided I'm 63. I can't walk in them anymore. I'm going to sell them. So I've been selling them on Facebook Marketplace for a song and a dime. And people are like, how could you do this? And there was kind of this feeling of that glamorous life that I used to have that doesn't exist, and the freedom that I now have to be who I am. And so what I heard each of you talking about, my interpretation was the dropping of the mask, the putting ourselves in a position that, okay, we learned something from it. There was value in it. But when it's just us by ourselves, it's such a relief to just be able to show up as we are authentically instead of catering to an image or certain visibility. So my next question is about this 6-series podcast that you're doing. And so I want people to understand, what is it they can get from listening to it and how can they do so?
So it's our podcast and it's our stories, basically. So each one of us, yes, we all had glamorous lives, worked in glamorous businesses, and then chose the lives that we lead now. So each episode is dedicated to a different idea. So one of them is the first episode, by way of introduction, is a bit of our backgrounds. And some of the episodes are fun. We talk about all the perks and swag and all the silly, fun things that we did. And some of them are a little bit more serious. There's an episode about friendships, colleagues, dating in the glamorous world that we lived in. We cover a lot of ground because we know that for people that have not walked in our shoes, it does seem fascinating, and we just pull back the curtain and go through what those industries were like. And that's warts and all, because these industries do have a dark underbelly. I personally didn't mind leaving television at all. It's a big cesspool. You couldn't get me back to working at the networks again, but and especially with what each of us, the three of us, have worked around a lot of celebrities, and what celebrities go through, what well-known people go through, especially women, as they age, and Hollywood and the fashion industry and television, they don't see women as relevant or interesting or commercial. And but women that work in front of the camera, what they go through, what they inject themselves with, and the surgeries and all of this to keep up an image, but mostly to stay relevant, to stay famous. And so we know that there is a dark underbelly, and so we pull back the curtain, and over 6 episodes we cover a lot of ground. And who knows, if there's season 2, we're open to having sponsors underwrite season 2.
Season 2 is definitely going to come upon us. I feel it. And so anyone who wants to be a sponsor, we do have all of the contact details here on the side. So I'd like us to shift just for a moment, because Heather, you hit on something that here in the US, we see it all the time. It's the plastic surgery, it's the weight loss drugs, it's starvation, all of these factors that it's almost like for a young woman today, I feel so sad, because that's not reality. That's not being healthy and being true to yourself. But it takes a lot of work to actually find out who we are inside and stop looking for external validation. So each of you has your own career as well. What would you share about people out there looking for external validation through clothing, through image, through followers, through TikTok? They have a zillion people following. Does that really mean anything?
So I can talk about that for a minute. So what I did specifically in film was special effects. I did something called animatronics, which were very sophisticated computerized puppets. If you think of like Harry Potter, like the monsters and stuff in that kind of thing, that's what I was doing. And so when people often ask me, how did I go from doing special effects in movies to working with people with physical issues and mental health diagnoses, I'll tell you that our minds have a better special effects department than anything, that means me or Steven Spielberg could come up with. Our minds can tell us all kinds of stories. And if we repeat those stories enough, or we have other people like social media, like you mentioned, reinforcing those stories, we start believing it's true, that I need to be a certain shape, or drive a certain car, or I live in a certain place to have value, to have meaning. And it's an illusion. That's what special effects are. It's like the whole of Hollywood, the whole of the entertainment business is an illusion, specifically what I was doing. And when you see through that illusion and see, like a lot of the work I'm doing now as a coach is helping people see that they have innate well-being, that they are innately healthy, that no matter what you've been through, no matter what the health diagnosis is or the mental health diagnosis, that you are not your story. That was a big thing to me. I thought I was my career, that I was my resume, that I was my traumas, that's who, and that's not who we are. We're underneath that noise, and helping people see that they have worth and value, not just because of what they've done or what they've been through, but because who they are underneath that.
That's so powerful what you just shared, because if you ask someone, I'd love you to tell me a little bit about yourself. Who are you? I do this, I do that, I am, and we get lost and don't really know who we are because we have all of these labels that we've attached to us. And when they're taken away or we decide to give them up, we walk away from a career. Sometimes people have a meltdown because that's who they really identified with. And so congratulations to the 3 of you walking away from careers where you were extremely successful to recreating and coming together and being successful on a whole other level.
Dr. JACALYN, wait till you hear, I love what Hannah Studley shared. Wait till you hear Hannah Gilman. She is dealing exactly with this type of potential clientele. When you talk about like labels and getting stuck and the stories, oh my gosh, I'm thinking Hannah Gilman also, right?
So my sense of sadness, I guess, for everything you just said, Dr. JACALYN, is for the women 40, 50, 60s, even in my age, the lack of confidence and the lack of, well, studies show that women don't trust themselves today to make right decisions. Those are scientific studies. And women just don't have the confidence, number one, because of what happens with our bodies. But number two, I either was the wife or the this or the that. And when you start to uncover patterns that run your life that you don't even know about, you can't unsee what you eventually see if you do the work. I also want to talk about one of the things that stood out for me. You talked about young women with eating. We used to have sit-in models, house models that worked for Anne Klein. All designers have this. And they would be the model sizes that patterns would be draped on. And these girls would literally starve themselves all week. And on Thursday, all of a sudden, all the delivery guys, the pizzas, the hamburgers, the ice cream shakes, and whatever you want, the smells would come in. And the girls are sitting, laughing, having a blast in the model room. And around 4 or 5 o'clock, you start to hear whimpering. And they're crying. Why? Because it's go-sees. You go out, models go to other designers, to all designers, and to go see if they'll get hired. So they would start crying, oh my gosh, I have a meeting a go-see at Calvin Klein at 7, and look at my stomach, I won't fit in the clothes, after they spent the afternoon binging. That cycle was so sad that it was incredible. And that erodes confidence as well. So if you start that in your 20s and 30s, good luck if you don't start to think about who you want to be and let go of the cage, because the cages we live in are the cages we create.
Excellent point. And thank you for sharing that. That was something I hadn't heard about before. In the beginning of the show, I was talking about how much I admire the fact that as 3 women, you've come together to do this From Glam to Glory, this 6-episode podcast series. And one of the things that just stood out for me based on what you just said was that when we do work on ourselves and we drop the mask and we get the confidence, that doesn't mean that people in our lives are like, oh, congratulations, we're super happy for you. Usually people are like threatened by it in some way, and they want to see us fail. Maybe they don't say it out loud, but they're secretly hoping that we fail, because then they don't have to actually do something. It's almost like the light is now shining on them and they don't want to look into it. So am I on point with this, or do you have a different perspective?
I'll answer for myself that I think you're very on point. And the one of the hardest things for women to hold when they want to make changes is holding their tension, the tension in their nervous system to go through the actual change. And so often many women will say, they'll be triggered for whatever reason right now, and they'll say, let me soothe myself, let me calm down, and I'll do the work to change next week. That doesn't work, because it's not how it works. You can only change in the upset. And that's where holding the tension, whether it's a food issue or a guy issue or a girlfriend issue. Why did she say? Why did he say? Why do I? And as Hannah works with the mind body, the aches, the pains, those things are real because we feel them so deeply. But until I can hold the tension for myself and the people around me, we're changing the dance, and they didn't ask for the dance to change. So that kind of goes hand in hand, exactly what you just said.
Beautiful.
I like that analogy of the dance, because that's exactly what it is. It's almost like you have a partner and you're in step, and then all of a sudden you're standing there alone going, who am I going to dance with now? Let's move on to the actual project that you're working on, From Glam to Glory, and tell our listeners, when you came together to do this, how did the flow start to go? And what I mean by this is, maybe there are other women out there who are thinking, you know what, I'd like to collaborate with women, but I don't know where to start, and I don't know how to follow through. What could you suggest?
I think that Hannah Gilman was exactly right, is that before we even started to record even the first word, that a few weeks before that, just to really meet and have this meal together. This happens all the time in movies also. Before even filming starts, the cast often goes out to dinner, because the director wants the cast to get along well. Happens in television also. So in our case, what's so hilarious and so true is that, especially because I heard the other ladies talk about how colleagues being angry for other people's success. So when the three of us get together, and we used to live these glamorous lives and have been around such world famous people, when the three of us share memories from the past, like one of us, not me, used to hang out with one of the Beatles, right? One of us, maybe me, was asked out by Fabio, and et cetera, like there's all kinds of like funny stories. One of us, not me, had dinner with the Shah of Iran. Okay, when we share our stories with each other, we are celebrating each other. We know where we came from, but there is no jealousy. There is no one-upsmanship, because we all had such incredible, just zany, crazy, but spectacular lives. And so I love it that the three of us can get together and schmooze even just about that. And we are so happy, to be together, and there's just there's no jealousy of what one used to have.
I think that is exactly the nail on the head there, Heather, which is when you truly have your own confidence and you believe in yourself, you want other people to succeed. You're happy when people do well, and you love to collaborate and say, hey, let's take all of our experiences together and see what we can come up with. What is a good client for each of you, in addition to the podcast? We'll talk about that as we wrap up. But for any clients, anybody out there who might want to contact you and work with you, what can you offer, and who's a good client? We'll start with Heather.
Oh, okay. So by nature, I am an interviewer. I've been an interviewer of celebrities since I was a junior high school student, interviewing local newscasters, and on and on. It was just always a thing to be an interviewer. So what I've noticed in this day and age is I love conversations, and there are people who want to start their own podcast. They want to learn about how to be interviewed by the media, or to be a media interviewer, how to express themselves in conversations. So that's what I do as a podcast coach, is I help people pre-produce, produce, launch, market their podcasts, even if they're just toying with the idea of a podcast. And this is where I help people, because everyone wants to express something about themselves. And on the other end, for people that are published book authors like myself, there are a lot of people who really don't know how to when it comes to published work, or even just a service that they do, there are people who would love to earn media attention for what they do, or to promote what they do through the media, but not paying ads. So if people do not like paying for ads, but they still want to earn media coverage for their product or their service or their written work, so that's one of those specialties that I do. Once again, using my media talents and experience for good instead of evil.
Thank you, Heather. And I can personally say I have worked with Heather over the years, so thank you very much. I really appreciate what I learned from you, and I continue to learn from you. So let's go to Hannah Studley. How can people work with you, and what value can you provide to them?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm not medically trained, like I came from the film business, but I work with a lot of people these days with health issues, mind-body issues. Because before I got big in the film career, I went through a lot of trauma, a lot of violence in my early 20s. I was mugged 3 times, and I had a lot of serious injuries from that. And so for 25 years, I had chronic pain, and I was rushed from film sets, almost paralyzed. My back was always going out. I had IBS, I had skin issues, lots and lots of physical things. And I never really understood it. I never thought of myself as a sick person. I just kept having these chronic issues. And then about 10 years ago, I came across a new paradigm in psychology, and I got really fascinated by it. I'd been a coach, part-time in between movies for decades. I got so excited about this new coaching, and then I suddenly noticed that all my pain went away. I'd been going to the chiropractor every month for 25 years. I was always having pain flare-ups. And I've been pain-free for 10 years now. So I got really curious to see if I could recreate that in other people. I did some research, and the people I shared with what I saw to be true started to get well as well. So I've now written 4 books. 3 of them are novels, because I find stories are a great way to get that message across to people. And one of the books is a textbook where I collected over 60 stories of people who've recovered from every mental health diagnosis you can think of, from psychosis and schizophrenia to bulimia to PTSD, like myself. And it's now being turned into a research paper. So I'm very excited because just a couple of months ago, it all got 2 PhDs, and I wrote it into a research paper. It's just been published in an academic journal now. So my clients are from all over the world, and I do coaching. I have a membership group, so people can find me on my website. And my membership group is one of my fun things that I do, because it's for a fairly reasonable fee. I'm doing 3 live session coaching sessions a week, and I've built up a community of like-minded people who want support, who are looking for new ideas, fresh new ideas because what happened for me is I was fixing myself, and it was when I stopped doing that my pain went away. That's what I'm sharing with people.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to you as well. Hannah Gilman, how about you? Who is a good client, and how can you provide value?
So I'm like the hidden gem. I'm not out there. I do have 3 books on Amazon, ebooks. Hannah Gilman, you can find me as the author. I am a coach for women, but I am not Coach 101. Most women want to come for coaching to learn how to soothe themselves and really just do pain management, emotional pain management. And that is not me. If you are ready to really, I do what's called shadow work, the patterns that are underneath that you don't realize are running you and running your life. And they usually are based on a lot of self-righteous virtue that you express about what you do and how great you are in whatever. And those are the things that truly are generally holding you back. So I'm good for the 40, 50, 60, like I said, but that is willing to just say, all right, it's enough. Let me see what it is. And if you're fierce about doing the work, we work very quickly. It's not years on the couch.
Thank you, and congratulations to you as well. How can people listen to From Glam to Glory? Is it available now? What platforms is it on, Heather?
It's going to be launching, God willing, in June. So Dr. JACALYN has the scoop and the exclusive that before we really do like a big promo launch and getting the word out there. But yeah, it's supposed to, we're scheduled to launch in June. It's going to be wherever podcasts, where you can listen to podcasts.
I am super blessed that the 3 of you are here today, and thank you for sharing the scoop with us here at USA Global TV and Radio. I hope that you'll come back together or individually and share any updates about what's going on in your world.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. You are an iconic woman, Dr. JACALYN. So
Thank you. As are the 3 of you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Wherever you are in the world, you may be watching social media, television, and you may think that you are not iconic. I promise you, you are. You have everything you need inside you. All you need to do is believe it. It's not about what we put on. It's not about who we know or where we go or what degrees we have. I used to believe it was about collecting gold stars. How many degrees could I get? How many certifications? But at the end of the day, that was all just me trying to prove something to myself. So I promise you, you don't need anything other than what you have inside of you and to believe it. And if you're struggling with that, there are people who can help. We just met 3 fabulous women here today who can help you. So please do yourself a favor, believe in yourself, and follow your passion. If you're in a place in your life where you're not passionate about what you're doing, please stop. Please stop. Don't be afraid to leave and make a change. Maybe you're in a relationship that you know is not healthy for you. Make some decisions because life is short. You will look one day and be like, how did I get to be? That's how I'm 63. I'm like, how did I get to be this age? But you know what? I'm grateful I'm still here and in another chapter of my life. What will your next chapter include? Let's find out. Thank you again for being here. If you are watching anywhere aside from YouTube, please go over to YouTube. And if you are on YouTube, please consider subscribing. We have the YouTube Silver Creator Award for over 100,000 subscribers on our first channel. We're working on our second channel. And I want to leave you with this. If you are giving away your value, I've written this book. It's called Stop Giving Away Your Value, because we all do it. It might be our time. It might be our money. It might be our expertise. We give it away because we're afraid. If we don't do it, we won't be liked. Maybe people won't do business with us. I want to encourage you to stop. And if you need some help, there's more information about what you can do. I wrote this book as a way of helping myself and helping others. So let's take a look at a movie trailer in this book, and we'll be back with our next show. Thank you again, and please believe in you.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? Lowering your price to secure the opportunity? Giving more while receiving less? Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. JACALYN KERBECK comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Vargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.